After Christopher Nolan's smash hit The Dark Knight, there was much anticipation for the director to come back with another superb Batman film. What is it that draws people towards Batman? Maybe it was the gritty tone of the comics that DC released. The comics were originally styled as old serial adventures. I think it wasn't until The Killing Joke and A Death in the Family that Batman comics became darker and more serious. This leads into what I and many others think is so appealing about Batman. He's human. Batman was merely a man in a suit, defying the odds of those around him, and ended up establishing justice and foiling the maniacal plots of his various rogues. How serious one is to interpret the character arc of Bruce Wayne is left to anyone's imagination, but Christopher Nolan studied this heroic icon, and by doing so, created a fundamental trilogy that explored upon the hero's journey. Yes, it all comes to an end. The Dark Knight Rises marks the turning point in Bruce Wayne's exploration of who he really is. What do I mean by that? Well, hold on, because this is going to be a powerhouse review. You should be aware, though, that there will be spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie yet, don't watch this review. If you don't care, by all means, watch this review. Dark Knight Rises takes place 8 years after its predecessor, set in Gotham City, a place of peace and good living. And without crime? It turns out that after Batman took the blame for Harvey Dent's crime as Two-Face, the city proclaimed Batman a criminal and Harvey a hero, leading to National Harvey Dent Day and the Dent Act, which keeps criminals in Blackgate Prison without the possibility of parole. Bruce Wayne, horror-stricken by the deaths of both Harvey and Rachel Dawes, and what he and Commissioner Gordon have done, abandons the cowl of Batman and decides to isolate himself from society as Bruce Wayne. Already we have an idea of the psyche of Bruce, based on the previous movies, and what we have learned at the beginning of this one. There is a sense of guilt that lurks around him, possibly believing he is the reason for Rachel and Harvey's death, just like he felt responsible for his parents' death. He isolates himself from the rest of the world, believing that not only is there no need for Batman, but that to continue his life as Bruce Wayne without Rachel is pointless. Some could even interpret that Bruce has realized that the Joker was right, and that he was indeed corruptible, resorting to lying to the public, which ended up resulting in the imprisonment of hundreds of criminals, all based on the evidence of Harvey Dent. While all this exposition is being thrown at the audience, a cat burglar named Selina Kyle infiltrates Wayne Manor and steals the fingerprints of Bruce Wayne, prompting him to get back into the role of Batman, much to the dismay of Alfred. Alfred believes Bruce is worn out and that the only reason he wants to return to his vigilante life is that he hopes he will end up dying because of it. Really, Alfred? It's taking you this long to believe that this was a stupid idea? To be honest, this does indeed further Alfred's character. Not only has he made it his duty to look after Bruce from a young age, he also has had to witness his transformation into a man who knows no real risks or sense of danger. Plus, since the last movie, Alfred also resorted to lying to Bruce, destroying the letter by Rachel which revealed her intent to marry Harvey. So Alfred has tried convincing Bruce to move on with his life, while he is forced to hear Bruce proclaim his belief that Rachel was going to wait for him. Meanwhile, in the sewers of Gotham, a new adversary is beginning to enact his plans to destroy both Bruce and Gotham. This would be Bane, a mercenary who is also leading the League of Shadows, the villains from the first movie. Bane, in my opinion, was the perfect choice for being the villain of this movie. While the general public may not know much about Bane, comic book fans regard him as one of Batman's greatest villains. Famous for his story arc, Nightfall, Bane is introduced as a cold and calculating man who is addicted to a drug that enhances his strength. In the story, he tests Batman's strength and willpower to the ultimate level, until Batman is exhausted and weakened beyond belief. Then, finally, Bane takes on the defenseless Batman, and in one of the most iconic scenes depicted in a comic book, Bane breaks Batman's back. This is one of the many reasons Bane was the best choice. If you look at the previous villains, they all had something to test Batman. Ra's al Ghul and Scarecrow forced Batman to confront his fears and advance his willpower. The Joker made Batman more of a detective and challenged him to make very serious moral and ethical choices. Even Two-Face made Batman come to terms with facing his own failures. So Bane is the ultimatum. He is testing Batman's strength and endurance. Some viewers may be let down that Bane isn't as eccentric or entertaining as the Joker, but he presents all the menace and terror that the Joker had. In fact, he is by some means even darker than the Joker. All one has to do is look into Bane's eyes and they tell you everything. whether he's angry, suspicious, or even in a state of glee. That is very difficult to pull off, especially when half of Tom Hardy's face is covered by that mask. Aside from Batman and Bane, our other masked individual would be Catwoman, played by Anne Hathaway. When I heard she was announced as Catwoman, I was both excited and nervous. I'm fully aware of how good of an actress Anne is, but I felt that this wouldn't be her type of movie. Thankfully, I was wrong, as she fits in perfectly, no pun intended, within the Nolan universe. She plays off the actions and feelings of the other characters around her, is cunning and dangerous, and yet she retains her usual sense of humor and wit. The one thing lacking, though, is a little bit of character background. There's at least one scene saying who Selina Kyle is, but other than that, the audience doesn't really learn anything about her. They don't even explain how she knows all these fighting techniques. But I can excuse the movie for that, because there are many more things it needed to focus on. The audience also has to get caught up with the new characters in this movie. These are the characters that are just there and don't really leave an impression on you, excluding Miranda Tate somewhat. She's a businesswoman who is trying to salvage Wayne Enterprises by endorsing in a clean energy project designed by Bruce. Only problem is, Bruce finds out that the solution can be turned into a bomb and he shuts the program down. As Miranda tries to persuade him to relaunch the device, a supposed romance builds. I say supposed because it literally comes out of nowhere. In fact, a romance between Catwoman and Batman also comes out of nowhere. With Catwoman though, there is more build-up and fans are well aware of the two's relationship, but with Miranda, it's literally just one weird scene where she and Bruce are talking, and then out of nowhere they're having a romantic event. I will add, however, there is a payoff to her character, and she's not as useless as Rachel was in the previous films. There is another character I forgot to mention, John Blake, a rookie detective who shares the ideals that Batman and Gordon once had. While his character is good, there's one thing about him that I do not buy. He figures out who Batman is, and the way he claims to have deduced that it was Bruce is beyond BS. Still, he's a strong character who grows throughout the movie, and he even gets his own special little ending, which is satisfying to see. So as the film progresses, Bane and Batman finally clash,
and the battle of the raspy voices begins.
Bane whoops his bat butt to the point of no repair, and yes, he does the iconic breaking the back of Batman, just as he did in the comics. This will indeed please fans. Bane places him in the prison that he grew up in, and explains that he will now break Bruce mentally. What's his plan? Well, he bombs key points of Gotham City, cutting Gotham off from the rest of the world, and threatening to use the Wayne fusion core mentioned earlier as a bomb. What he doesn't tell the public is that the bomb will go off in a few months, regardless of whether he detonates it or not. Now, this is a good evil plan for a villain. There's just one problem. We've seen it before. In fact, it was the exact group of people, the League of Shadows, who attempted to do this in the first movie. This is a little disappointing, but hey, what else is the villain supposed to do other than destroy a city? Bane also has the Criminals of Blackgate released and reveals to the public the truth behind Harvey Dent. The truth. That he did live long enough to see himself become the villain. Well, the prisoners are pissed off and they decide that enough is enough, so they capture the rich and corrupt and take them to court, where Scarecrow presides as judge, which is a very humorous circumstance. He either sentences them to death or exile, with exile being that you attempt to walk on the ice of Gotham Bay attempting to escape. I loved his scenes, but what I thought would have been even better was if 1, he wore his Scarecrow mask, and 2, if someone chose exile, he released his fear gas on them and would send the victims running across the ice. That would have been awesome. Now, Bruce is at his lowest point. The lowest he has ever been in these movies. His company has collapsed, Alfred has left him, hoping to motivate Bruce to give up Batman. He isn't killed as Batman, which is how he wanted to die, and now Bane has placed him in this hellhole with no way out and knowing that his city is doomed. As Gotham falls into hell, Bruce tries to rediscover the power that made him Batman. He goes through great lengths to heal his body and build it up in the hope that he will eventually escape the pit that he is in and confront Bane. In the prison, Bruce learns that the only person to have escaped from the pit was the child of Ra's al Ghul, who Batman presumes is Bane. The more Bane terrorizes Gotham, the more enraged Bruce gets, and he becomes determined to take the climb out of the pit, believing that the only way out is the way the child did, without the need of a rope. So Bruce literally has to make a leap of faith in order to escape. And this is the moment our hero, in all respects of the word, rises. It seems all hope is lost when Bruce returns to Gotham. One question. How? It is established that the man is completely broke, financially that is, so it's hard to buy the fact that he could get a plane to get back to Gotham. Then again, he is Bruce Wayne, and it could be argued that his fame alone got him a trip back. Alright, I can buy that, but what I still don't get is how he got into Gotham. It's also been established that the military are outside Gotham threatening to blow the bridges if someone tries to escape, and Bane also threatens that he will detonate the bomb if this happens. So how could Bruce possibly set foot on this no man's land? There's no logical explanation other than, he's Batman. Yes, I acknowledge it's a nitpick, and I can overlook it, but it seems like a big plot hole to me. Well, I've gone on this far, so I might as well finish off the movie, so again, spoiler alert. Viewers are given a climactic showdown which centers around 3 parts: Batman vs. Bane, the police against the criminals, and Gordon locating the bomb. As Batman and Bane duke it out, we find out Bane's one weakness: getting punched in the face. A lot. Bane's down for the count when all of a sudden, a certain character literally stabs Batman in the back. Miranda Tate, whose real name is Talia al Ghul, the real child of Ra's. For one who has never read a Batman comic, this would be considered a great twist, and it is. It's just that Talia is a well-known character in the comics, and even before the movie came out, fans immediately proclaimed that that was going to be Marion's character, even though she denied it. If there is one negative to the twist, it's that it undermines Bane's character a little bit, making him look more like a pawn or a right-hand man. It would have been nice, for me at least, if Bane was leading this group on his own and Talia came to Gotham to help put a stop to him. But I'm still satisfied with what I got. Bane decides to just finish Batman off, only to be killed by Catwoman, who proves that the most effective weapon is always a frickin' gun. This bothered me somewhat because it made Bane's death really anticlimactic, and I figured that the main villain deserves something a little more. However, it is rather humorous, because any way you look at it, many fans always note that it only takes a bullet to the head to stop one of Batman's villains, and finally, it happens. I'm not sure if that's what Nolan was going for, but I found it amusing. Batman, Catwoman, and Gordon chase after Talia, eventually ending in Talia's death, which was eerily similar to her father's death in the first movie. Of course, the bomb is about to go off, so Batman attaches the bomb to his aircraft vehicle, the Bat, and bids farewell to both Catwoman and Gordon, who finally realizes that Batman is Bruce Wayne. Now, pay attention to this. Batman flies out to sea with the bomb, and we cut to Batman a few seconds before the bomb goes off. Cut away from that, and out in the distance, the bomb goes off, and everyone presumes Bruce to be dead. However, in another twist, we see Alfred go to a restaurant in Italy where he comes across Bruce and Selina living a happy life, which is what Alfred wanted all along. Alright. Another nitpick moment. We can assume Batman ejected from the Bat before the bomb detonated. In fact, there was a scene explaining that Bruce fixed the autopilot. However, that was a nuclear blast. There is no way someone could eject from the vehicle and get past that blast radius. Unless the person was Batman. In conclusion to this story, we discover that John Blake's legal name is Robin, which is a nice nod to the character without actually having the character in it. But through Bruce, Blake is given the coordinates to the Batcave, where he ascends on this platform, maybe implying that he is the Dark Knight who rises. I don't know, but for what it's worth, the movie was awesome. It was a perfect end to a fantastic trilogy. The acting was top-notch from both the reoccurring characters and the new ones, the editing was smooth and precise, and it managed to get its story across without jumping the shark. There were minor complaints I had, but those were mostly nitpicks, and they didn't ruin the film for me. I highly recommend this film for those interested in comics, action, and drama. Christopher Nolan, your movie gets 9 batarangs out of 10.